Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin. What if all the other assassins legitimately suck?
All right, ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Chapter 4.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Okay.
I am recording.
So I want to make sure after last time,
I did not forget to hit record. Kaol Westfall. I forgot his name was Westfall.
Westfall. What about East Rise? That's a man I'm interested.
A rising man, huh? Westfall's certainly not rising through the ranks. He's peaked. Kaol Westfall sprinted through the game park, Selena keeping pace beside him. The chill morning air was like shards of glass in his lungs, his breath clouded in front of him. They'd bundled up as best they could without weighing themselves down.
Sounds like they're about the same height. If he's sprinting and Selena's keeping up with him, legs are about the same length.
He's a slow sprinter,
He's
like
just
me.
Slow. Not everyone sprints the same, okay? One man's sprint is another woman's canter.
Yeah. They bundled themselves up. They bundled up to go sprinting without weighing themselves down. Mostly just layers of shirts and gloves. But even with sweat running down his body, Kaol was freezing. Yeah, 'cause you're getting wet. Don't sweat in the cold. Just saying. Should not have layered so much.
Look what it would do to a man.
Yeah. I mean, use layers, but, don't put on so many layers. Kaol knew Selena was freezing, too. Her nose was tipped with pink. That happens way before you start freezing. Color stood high on her cheeks. That also happens from running. And her ears shone bright red. She could be embarrassed about his performance.
Yeah.
Last night.
Oh.
Noticing his stare, she flashed him a grin. Those stunning turquoise eyes full of light. Tired?
Does she have turquoise eyes? I thought she had brown eyes with gold on the brim.
There's definitely gold around the edges. Because it's describing book one.
Turquoise is a specific color. I don't think she had turquoise eyes.
Green, blue? Or is that Jill?
Maybe that's... No, you could say turquoise is green, blue. I wouldn't say it, but I think it could be.
I'd say turquoise is turquoise.
Turquoise is turquoise. Anyway, if only we had a copy of the false book, I'd be looking it up right now.
Yeah, you could look it up. You could literally Google it. Actually, you could Mozilla Firefox it.
I could Mozzie it.
She could Mozzie it while we continue.
Let me see if the book's on Libby that I can check out right now. It probably isn't.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
might get lucky.
Tired? She teased. I knew you weren't bothering to train while I was away, which is really weird because he's the captain of the guard, so he should train on his own. It shouldn't be about spending time with her or competing with her. He's the captain of the guard. He should be training the guard.
Literally.
He let out a breathy chuckle. You certainly don't train while you were on your mission. This is the second time this morning that I've had to slow my pace for you. I didn't make them panting. So sorry. I'm not going to make them pant. A blatant lie. She kept up with him easily now, nimble as a stag bounding through the woods. I think what would be more nimble than a stag? What do you think would be more nimble than a stag?
Ferret.
A doe, because it ain't got those antlers to get stuck in a tree and die with.
So true, so true.
Ferret, debatably. I don't think you could go bounding. Well, actually, ferrets do bound. They do have that little hop, that little jump. Anyways, stag, not as much of a flex as he thought it was. Sometimes he found it immensely hard not to watch her. To watch the way she moved. Oh! Keep telling yourself that, she said, and ran a little faster. He increased his speed, not wanting her to leave him behind. Servants had cleared a path through the snow blanketing the game park, but the ground was still icy and treacherous underfoot. So maybe don't go sprinting, because you're going to break a leg. And, I don't know, the vibe I'm getting is that if the king's chosen pet assassin broke her leg, He just put her down.
Yeah. It's foreplay.
It's foreplay. They like the risk. He'd been realizing it more and more recently, M-Dash, how much he hated it when she left him behind. How he hated her setting off on those cursed missions and not contacting him for days or weeks. Sounding a little obsessed, potentially.
No, it's just love.
No, it's just love.
This is just what
He
love is,
didn't
girlfriend.
know how or when it had happened, but he'd somehow started caring whether she came back or not. And after all that they'd already endured together, ellipsis. He'd killed Kane at the duel. Yeah, she didn't even kill her. She didn't even kill him. She didn't even kill him.
She was drugged out of her mind, remember, by the one drug that has no evidence that it's in the drink?
I don't know. I'm just saying maybe Kane should be the maybe Kale should be the champion. He killed the other guy. He killed Kane at the duel, killed him to save her. And killing is an evil thing, so of course it's a bad thing, but oh, he did it for her. Part of him didn't regret it. Part of him didn't regretted it. I'm going to say it right. I'm going to say it right.
He regretted it. Part of him didn't regret it.
Part of him didn't regret it. Part of him would do it again in a heartbeat. But the other part still woke him up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat that felt too much like Kane's blood. Blood does feel different than sweat, but you know what? This is his first time, so I'll allow it.
How is he captain of the guard? You have... Again, I know we've already
It's
talked
ceremonial.
about him. It's ceremonial. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it is. You just take a son of a lord, put him up there. We've told us safe, so he never does anything, go.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, like Kane's blood, she looked over at him. What's wrong? He fought the rising guilt. Keep your eyes on the path, or you'll slip. For once, she obeyed him. You want to talk about it? Yes. No. If there were anyone who could understand the guilt and rage he grappled with when he thought about how he'd killed Kane, it would be her, because she's an assassin and she's killed so many people, but she knows it's wrong, so she feels terrible.
So we can say, like, yes, she has to be an assassin because she was taken in by that guy who trained her and then made her, like, pay off her debt, right?
Right.
It seems like if it's true that she has all this guilt over killing people, it seems like whole narrative, she wouldn't be like, I'm the best assassin of all, if she's feeling so guilty.
Yeah.
Okay?
That is also another inconsistency, to be like taking pride in being the best, but I feel terrible about what I'm doing. Maybe you wouldn't take pride in being the best if you think it's an evil thing.
Yeah. Man, this book's inconsistent. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Whoa!
Couldn't have guessed from book 1 that this one would continue like it. Let's see, where were we? Oh, yes. She would understand. How often, he said in between breaths, do you think about the people you've killed? All right, Tia, how often do you think what's her answer going to be?
I bet she's gonna be like, never, bitch.
Do you think she'll lie about it?
Weak boy.
Weak boy?
Soy boy.
Let's see. She whipped her gaze to him, then slowed. He didn't feel like stopping, and might have kept running, but she grabbed his elbow and forced him to pause. Her lips formed a thin line. If you think passing judgment on me before I've had breakfast is anyway a good idea... She's hangry, and she's running. No, he interrupted, panting hard. No, I didn't mean it like... Ellipsis.
It's only...
He swallowed a few breaths. I wasn't judging. If he could just get his damn breath back, he could explain what he meant. Again, a weird placement of profanity. He's not a particularly profane character that I recall from the first book. He's not like swearing up a storm. It's not a highly emotionally charged section.
Yeah.
Not written that way. He's not talking that way. And so just like to throw in a random damn, it doesn't really make sense.
Where's the juice?
Yeah. Her eyes were as frozen as the park around him, but then she tilted her head to the side. is this about Cain? Yeah, no shit. Who else has he killed?
Yeah, literally.
Me just swore right there after saying that it wasn't needed in the book. But I'm not published.
You're not.
My words are not being published
currently.
currently.
Not a character.
So true.
Characters are simple.
Yeah.
Why is the simple little freak fun? You know. You know.
Yeah. Hearing her speak the name made his jaw clench. He can think it just fine, just can't hear it spoken. But he managed a nod. The ice in her eyes melted completely. He hated the sympathy in her face, the understanding.
And God forbid you ever get sympathy, which is the thing you wanted to begin with.
He wanted understanding, not sympathy. He's a man. He don't need sympathy.
I don't need sympathy. Don't want sympathy. Don't need sympathy.
I don't want your sympathy. I don't need your sympathy.
Even though you are the only one who
could
understand.
Possibly understand, because you're definitely the only other person who's killed somebody.
She would understand because she kills people for money, while I killed someone to prevent them from killing someone I like. So
almost
we are
self-defense.
exactly the same.
We are exactly the same. The only honorable killing is in war.
This is true.
Hey, okay, I would like to see Dorian's perspective when he gets sent off to war, because he needs some character development.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like war is the only thing that's going to do it to him. I would like to see his perspective on killing and see how killing is handled differently if it's from soldiers in war.
Has he had any issue with killing in the last book?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
But, also I'd like to know how the narrative handles it. How does Maas handle it? Is more what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Through his character, how would she handle it? Would she handle it differently?
Totally, I suppose.
He hated the sympathy. He was the captain of the guard. He was bound to have killed someone at some point. He'd already seen and done enough in the name of the king. He'd fought men, hurt them. Yes?
It's the dial. He's done so much for the king already. I've hot men. Hot men.
I got the hots for me.
I hot men. I've fought men. Hot them. It's just... Keep reading.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll have something to say soon, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay. Hurt them. So he shouldn't even be having these feelings, and especially shouldn't be telling her. There was a line between them, somewhere, and he was fairly certain that he'd been towing it more and more these days. I don't know. I kind of feel like the last book ended off with, because we're both servants, and, you're not a prince, we're on more equal footing.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that was just how we interpret it to make it make sense.
That's what it definitely seemed like. It was pushing away from Selena and Dorian and pushing towards Kaol and Selena. Kaol and Dorian. Well, all you.
He'd been towing the line more and more these days. All right, origins of towing the line.
Towing the line. Oh my goodness! This is the thing. So when I hear towing the line, I think it's you're doing what you're supposed to do, but you're getting right up to the edge of doing what you're not supposed to do. Towing the line is when it comes from, I think it's Naval Britain, but it comes from when you have your ship inspected, all of the sailors get up and they stand in a line during the ship's inspection in port or whatever. They're not on the seas when this is happening. So towing the line means doing what you're supposed to do. That's what it actually means. That's how Dad interprets it. I interpret it as just towing the line of what you're actually allowed to do. So
I feel like that's a general interpretation, is that it's like you're doing what you have to do, but just because you have to do it.
Just at the edge, you're going right
You're
against...
just barely keeping your toe there because you want to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, as some people think, towing the line as in, pulling a barge up a canal.
Oh, that's what
that
you
kind
meant.
of towing the line.
Not towing.
Not that. That is called an eggcorn.
An eggcorn?
An eggcorn, spelled egg, E-G-G, corn, C-O-R-N, even though it sounds like eggcorn, the nut, which is the actual term for, the misinterpretation of... metaphors like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're called metaphors. They're called
Figures of
idioms.
speech.
Idioms. It's called an eggcorn, which is just really funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I guess you were just waiting to tell me about Acorn, and I'm over here talking about it. Actually comes from naval practices.
You knew that pretty more than I did. I didn't know it was naval specific.
I talked to Dad about it because I was singing a song that had Toad the Line. And I was like, what do you think that means? And I was like, oh, this is what I think it means. He's like, wrong. It means you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It does not, you know?
And you were more right. Because he also was thinking it was, if I recall right, it was originating from towing a barge.
Maybe that's what he thought, but that's not what he told me. So maybe when you talked to him about it, he learned a bit more, and he remembered it from when he talked to me about it. Because I know you had that conversation with him a while ago.
Okay.
Watch out for everything that's laying over here.
Gonna crush it.
No!
Okay, anyways, towing the line more and more these days.
So he's just doing what he should
I'll never forget the people I've killed, she said. You were wrong. You were exactly wrong.
Maybe she shouldn't just like... I'm not going to justify it. Keep talking, Selena.
Her breath curled in the air between them. Even the ones I killed to survive. I still see their faces, still remember the exact blow it took to kill them. Here's my question.
Maybe she's lying just to get into his...
But lying is evil.
Oh, that's
She's expressed this already. She hates lying to her friends.
Wait, she's not... Cal's not a friend. He's a fuck buddy.
If anyway. That... there's something that goes... Oh, I was wondering. So, she remembers the blows it took to kill people. Does she remember the blows that harmed people? No, like, what makes killing someone so much worse than bodily wounding
She was
them?
like Batman, just like bodily wounding them, that's fine. That doesn't break the code. Killing them, that's something to remember.
No.
But like sending someone to the hospital permanently, it's okay.
Permanently to the hospital. Anyways, that's just something I was thinking about just then. Of course, you know, we make this huge distinction because, like, death is, like, the end in this world, so that's why it's so much bigger. But also, bodily wounding someone is also not good. She looked at the skeletal trees. Okay, so we now know they do not have evergreens around this place. They have deciduous? Yeah,
I mean, there might
deciduous
be
and
some
coniferous.
evergreens, but she's just looking at the skeletal trees in particular.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm assuming that means that they've dropped their leaves.
Yeah.
Gonna start making topography. Some days it feels like another person did those things. Disassociation. And most of those lives, I'm glad I ended. No matter the cause, though, it still takes away a little piece of you each time. Because killing is such a horrific sin, which I don't necessarily disagree. Don't go around killing people. But it's disproportionately expressed in this book.
Again, it's the narration of Hope being like, I'm the best assassin, I'm the greatest, I could kill all these people if I wanted to, right now, which I think happens at the beginning of the first book.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, God, they stick with me. Oh, they stick with me. It does not seem like a consistent characterization from her own perspective.
Yeah.
Again, I guess she could just be BSing to KL right now to try to get close to him because she wants to use him for something.
But that doesn't fit her internal narrative.
But that doesn't fit with it either. Oh, that's right, the internal narrative. Anyway.
No matter the cause, it takes away a little piece of you each time, so I don't think I'll ever forget them. So can she number them off for me right now? I would like to know her kill count.
Yeah,
would love to know.
What's your body count?
Yeah. What's your stats?
Yeah.
Her gaze found him again, and he nodded. But, Kaal, she said, and tightened her grip on his arm, a grip he hadn't realized she'd still been holding. What happened with Cain, that wasn't an assassination, or even a cold-blooded murder.
That was protecting me.
Okay, so maybe there's this distinction now being drawn between the type of killing done, which would make me think that killing by soldiers is going to be handled way less exaggerated fashion. So that's great.
Dorian still might be a wimp about it, though.
He could be. He could be.
I'm killing people. Especially if it turns out that he is kind of more against his father, so he might be like, I'm killing these soldiers for a cause that I think is horrible, that I'm trying to end, and I'm still out here killing them.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
But even that is a bit better reasoning, I feel, than, killing them is such terrible because it's cold-blooded, because he's got his reason.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's, I don't want to be helping my dad's agenda. Also, I think killing is bad, so that I feel double bad now. Mm-hmm. As long as it isn't written in too exaggerated of a fashion.
Too exaggerated as fashion.
He tried to step back, but she held firm. What you did wasn't dishonorable, Imdash. And I'm not just saying that because it was my life you were saving.
I would say.
She paused for a long moment. You will never forget killing Cain, she said at last, and when her eyes met his heart pounded so hard he could feel it across his whole body. Maybe he has blood pressure issues.
Heart palpation?
Heart palpation? Maybe. I'm not sure that you'd feel it. Oh, it could be. Yeah. He has a heart condition. That's why he had to have the ceremonial position at the palace.
Have a bad heart.
Yeah.
Let me out.
But I will never forget what you did to save me either. That's right. She owes him her life. That debt better come into play later.
Yeah, it better.
A life debt.
Well, she just said, I'll never forget, not that I owe you. So maybe KL will be in trouble and she'll be like, hey, remember when you saved my life? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That would actually be okay. I would appreciate that. But also, isn't she supposed to actually be some fae thing, right? So then it could pull into the, fae's got to return favors or whatever. Or something. Or debts owed. Or debts owed or something. I don't know. Total speculation here now.
Hey, get your claws off of my ground. Why is he standing like that? He's standing straight up like a cow.
Because you disturbed him. What static? Go away. Or join us, quietly. The urge to lean into her warmth was staggering. I thought you were sweating, dude. But he was cold because he was sweating. He made himself step back, away from the grip of her hand, made himself nod again. There was a line between them. The king might not think twice about their friendship, but crossing that final line could be deadly for both of them. It could make the king question his loyalty, his position, everything. I feel like friendship would also do those things, because the king doesn't trust her, clearly, and he sees plots all around him. And if it ever came down to having to choose between his king and Selena, ellipsis.
Wow.
He prayed to the Weird that he'd never be faced with the decision. Hey, the Weird, actually short for the Weird Sisters. Staying firmly on this side of the line was the logical choice, because he's so logical. But that's okay, everyone tries to use reason sometimes. The honorable one, too, since Dorian, ellipsis. I'm gonna imbue that with as much emotion as possible. The honorable one, since Dorian was pregnant.
I was not expecting that.
Gotta step forward. Gotta put his life in order.
Yeah. It's bad for the baby, yeah.
He'd seen the way Dorian still looked at her. He wouldn't betray his friend like that.
Especially not his pregnant friend.
Especially not his pregnant friend.
It's not good. Betrayal isn't good for the baby.
It's not good for the baby. Think of the stress. Well, Kael said with forced lightness, I suppose having Adarlan's assassin in my debt could be useful. She gave him a bow. At your service.
What is that even supposed to mean, Adarlan's assassin? The assassin who plagues Adarlan?
It's like being Adarlan's bitch. But instead, you're Adarlan's assassin. Okay, I need to tone down the profanity.
At least say whole. Like a civilized force,
It's like being Adelan's whore.
Golly! Golly!
Also known as Archer. All right, I'll try to calm it down. His smile was genuine this time. "Oh, come on, Captain," she said, starting into a slow jog. "I'm hungry, and I don't feel like freezing my ass off out here." Ass, low bar, not really even profanity, totally fine to have it here.
But God forbid, damn.
It just seems weird.
It just seems weird.
I don't feel like damn is as soft as ass. Also, ass was in dialogue.
This is true. That's true.
It's like someone could have said damn in their dialogue. I'll give it way more of a pass.
Than the narrative saying.
Narrative of a character who doesn't particularly swear. I'm looking askance. Askance. He chuckled under his breath, and they ran on through the park.
I thought they were sprint.
They're sprinting. They're running. Same thing.
No, it's not.
They just stopped. They can't sprint anymore. Their muscles are cooling down. It's gonna hurt. They're feeling the pain. They're feeling the lactate.
Muscles obliterated.
Muscles obliterated. When they finished their run, Selena's legs were wobbling, and her lungs were so raw from the cold and exertion that she thought they might be bleeding. You should breathe through your nose more. It will help warm and hydrate, humidify the air before it reaches your lungs. Then your lungs won't be as damaged by cold, dry air.
Goddamn.
It'll also help save moisture and heat for yourself. Breathe through your nose. They slowed to a brisk walk as they headed back to the toasty interior of the palace. The toasty interior of the palace? M-dash, and the giant breakfast that she was very much looking forward to devouring before going shopping. They entered the castle gardens, weaving their way through the gravel paths and toward the hedges. She kept her hands tucked under her arms. Even with the gloves, her fingers were frozen stiff. She should try mittens. Gloves, unfortunately, you put a bunch of layers of gloves on and they start constricting your fingers. Poor blood flow. Makes it worse.
But mittens, on the other hand.
So
cunt.
Yeah. She would look so much better if she was out there with mittens, sprinting.
Yeah, you
after the captain of the guard. You look less like you're about to murder him if you got mittens on.
Yeah. Also, you can't hide like a little shank in your gloves because you see all the fingers. But in your mittens, hold them between your fingers, and then you just ram it hard enough so shank goes through the glove, through the mitten, into the lungs.
Ooh.
And just pop that a few times. Dead.
Well, you can survive for a long time with your lungs hit, unless you do it right.
What do you want?
I'm not going to explain it how you do it right.
I guess you would do it right by hitting it up high, so it punctures the lung, so blood goes into the lung and fills up the lung.
I don't know about up high. You could just I
think you want to do it
down
through the lung into the heart.
Yes, if you made a sucking chest wound.
Hold up. A sucking chest wound?
A sucking chest wound.
Meaning? Every time you breathe, it sucks fluid into your lungs?
It's like sucks air into your into your chest.
Oh.
So you're actually crushing your lung because you're getting air in there.
Kind of messed up.
But humans have a complete mediastinum, meaning you can have one collapsed lung on the other side. Your other side, though, just fine. So you're not going to
kind of have to do the 1-2.
Yeah, exactly. You need the 1-2. 2 mittens.
2 mittens. Pop. And when they're so shocked from that, you get to hit the second one, no?
Yeah. You could also get lucky and hit, like, one of the major blood vessels in the lungs.
Man, I never really thought about how lungs have major blood vessels in them, but that's really important for lungs to get blood up into them. Man, I've never thought about that before. Anyway.
Learn things every day.
You realize things every day.
Don't stab people.
Unless?
It's hard to kill people with just a plain old stabbing. Turns out.
That's why when we watch Forensic Files, they were stabbed 78 times.
Also, the passion.
The passion.
And the passion... Wait, isn't that something with
Christ? The passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
He was stabbed 78 times the passion of the Christ was upon me. Anyway, let's actually read the book.
Okay, her fingers were frozen stiff, and her ears positively ached. Perhaps she'd start wearing a scarf over her head. Can attest, very useful. M dash. Even if Kale would tease her mercilessly about it. What are they, 16? No, they're 18, so actually, I get it.
Checks out.
Though, is Kale? How old's Kale?
She's like 21 or something.
Oh, okay. She glanced sideways at her companion, who had peeled off his outer...
legal.
He could be all the way up to 24. It's okay. In Florida. She kept her hands tucked under... Oh, whoops. So he was peeling off his outer layer of clothing to reveal the sweat-drenched shirt clinging to his body. He should have removed layers sooner. They could have had a servant following them, just picking up the layers as they came off. That's not suspicious at all. That's not going to get the king to kill him any sooner.
That's why you just gotta treat your servants well so they keep your secrets.
Yeah. They rounded a hedge, and Selena...
I didn't know they were garden walkers.
Oh, they're going straight through the garden. They're trimming the hedges as they run.
What is that called when you make things out of hedges?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well.
Art.
Guess you can't know anything.
I don't know everything, yeah. And Selena rolled her eyes when she saw what waited on the path ahead. The Ritter Rack.
Oh!
I jest. Every morning, more and more ladies found excuses to be walking through the gardens just after dawn to catch a look at that chiseled figure under the sweat-soaked shirt clinging to his skin.
Maybe they'll come to see Selena.
Maybe, you're right. Actually, they could be coming for Selena.
She's literally a new face in the castle. She's not here all the time.
Also, I need these to be older ladies.
She's running. Where are all the cougars?
Yeah, these are cougars. They're coming for Dorian
maybe they want
and Selena.
a little tryst, you know?
Yeah. A little tryst. For their assault. See, they want a little tryst. They're not interested in Archer. That's a big tryst.
Because that's too obvious.
Yeah. They want a little something.
They want something fresh. They've already had...
You're right.
Plenty
They've
of
probably
Archer.
already had plenty of Archer.
Now, we just assume he's a whore. Oh.
He's a courtesan. Specifically, the husbands of women want to kill him.
Suspicious.
He's a sex worker.
Suspicious. Man, you said husbands of women, and I totally thought you meant women were trying to kill him. And I'm like, why would the woman want to kill him?
He knows too much.
He knows too much already.
At first, it had just been a few young women, rats, who'd taken one look at Kale in his sweaty, clingy clothes.
Does it actually say sweaty, clingy?
Yeah.
Both times?
Yeah, it says sweaty, clingy.
Both times?
Oh, no. So I totally made up a solid 2 sentences.
About him, yeah, okay.
So it's walking through the garden. More and more ladies found excuses to walk through the garden just after dawn. And then at first it had just been a few young women with his sweaty, clingy clothes.
Oh, so it didn't say rats either.
No rats. No Ritterack, no rats. That was me just...
I thought she was calling the woman rats.
No.
For showing up. Like, as if you haven't looked.
As if you aren't looking.
As if you aren't also at the Devil's Sacrament.
I would respect it if she weren't, but I don't think it's going that way.
No, she's definitely going to be at the Devil's Sacrament, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like, why can't it just be a coincidence? Like, my Uber dropped me off, yeah.
It's mistakenly. I
got in a fight with my Uber, and he threw me out of the car, so that's why I was at the Devil's Sacrament.
That's pretty good. I got in a fight with my Uber.
I might have said something.
And halted their walk. Selena could have sworn their eyes had bulged out of their heads and their tongues had rolled onto the ground.
When they saw her or when they saw
More
him?
unreliable narration.
Yeah, I don't think that happens. She might be hallucinating.
Yeah.
She's like a Disney princess where they have like that little sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Only it's hallucinations. Like, I guess Harley Quinn or Deadpool. So.
Yeah.
Anti-villain Selena! Anti-hero Selena!
Yeah, or I guess like Jinx.
Oh, Jinx. Anti-hero... How dare you say... I don't even like Jinx. How dare you... At least Jinx is consistent.
Yes, also I had to tie it into something modern. Something current. Harley Quinn, years old, gone, forgotten.
Deadpool was current. Deadpool was more current than Arcane.
Arcane was last year.
So was Deadpool.
Okay, well, I watched Arcane more recently. I haven't seen Deadpool. The next morning, they'd appear along the path again, M-, wearing even nicer dresses. The day after that, more girls showed up, and then several more, and now every direct route from the game park to the castle had at least one set of young women patrolling, waiting for him to walk by. So, why are there so many young single ladies at the castle? I don't think it's a coincidence.
I think it's probably something where, no parents are involved in court. They have to be here, matchmaking. Maybe, the season is going to, maybe they have
to be presented.
Presented this.
They're in season like the stag.
Hey, no. I mean, well,
It's just a reference back to the stag comment about Selena. Don't read into it.
too late.
Oh, please, Selena hissed as they passed two women who looked up from their fur muffs to bat their eyelashes at him. To blink? They must have awoken before dawn to be dressed so finely. Yeah, and you awoke before dawn to go run.
And who's more ready for the day?
Also bold of you to assume they went to sleep.
Yeah.
Their night's actually just ending.
Yeah, this is when you're hung, you're drunk. You gotta go ogle the goods on your way home.
Yeah. Clearly.
Just because they stay nice when they party, they know how to put themselves together when they party, doesn't mean...
Yeah. What? Kale asked, his brows rising. She didn't know whether he simply didn't notice, or if he didn't want to say anything, but ellipsis. The gardens are rather busy for a winter morning, she said carefully. Playing into the oblivious dude. That's why he's not an assassin, he'd be dead. It's also why he has to have the ceremonial position, or he'd be dead. He shrugged. Some people go a little stir-crazy being cooped up inside all winter. Or they just enjoy the sight of the captain of the guard and his muscles. That was Selena thinking.
So she's
all
his,
italics.
So captain of the guard, and she's his muscles?
Yeah.
Sounds like it. He's useless otherwise. So.
Yeah. Other than to kill once and feel terrible
That's
forever.
kind of funny. Captain of the guard and muscles.
And muscles. All right, how far to the end of this section? Because we are well close to 40 minutes. It's okay. We'll finish this section. It's going to be a long one.
A long one, the night go.
How do I keep getting the long chapters? I'm not complaining, though.
Man, that's so true, because chapter 1 was so short. Then you went chapter 2. Chapter 3 was short. I like this pattern.
But all she said was, right. And then she shut her mouth. No need to point it out if he was that oblivious. Especially when some of the ladies were exceptionally pretty. Oh, she's feeling a little threatened. Are you going into Rifthold to Are you going into Rifthold to spy on Archer today? Kael asked softly, and then the path was mercifully clear of giggling, blushing girls. She nodded. I want to get a sense of his schedule, so I'll probably trail him. Why don't I help you? Because you, my friend, are as recognizable as a bowl in a china shop. You're not stealthy.
True.
Everyone knows who you are. Not
But
everyone
just
knows who I am.
like your
Won a big
father.
tournament for the king. Nobody definitely knows who I am.
Well, wasn't it a secret? Wait, no, it wasn't, because they had the whole spectatorship in the last episode, in the last event.
Yeah. Everyone knows it's her. She should have a huge target on her back. Because I don't need your help. She knew he'd probably interpret it as ignorance, M-, and it probably was, M-, but ellipsis. If he didn't get involved, then it if he did... Wow, I need some water. Help.
Help. I'm dying.
Oh, that's better. if he didn't get involved, then if he did get involved, wow, that was rough. If he did get involved, then it would complicate things when it came to time to smuggle Archer to safety. That is, after she got the truth out of him, M-, and learned what plans the king had in mind. She's a strong believer that the king isn't lying at all about these plans. I know you don't want my help. I just thought you might want... ellipsis. He trailed off, then shook his head, as if reprimanding himself. She found herself wanting to know what he'd been about to say, but it was best to let the topic drop. They rounded another hedge, the castle interior so close she almost groaned at the thought of that delicious warmth.
Oh!
But then, M-, Kale! Dorian's voice cut through the crisp morning.
It's the home wrecker.
She did groan then, a barely audible sound. Why is he the home wrecker? Actually, you're right. He did attempt to some degree of force himself upon her. She was not. She should have stabbed him. I'll leave it there. She should have stabbed him because he was advancing with.
But she had like a pin tied to a piece of soap. I have never understood how that shank is supposed to be.
It was a pin tied to a piece of soap? That's what it was?
That's what it was something like that, like something ridiculous. That's how I interpreted it, at least. It never seemed like an actual, like, weapon.
I definitely thought she had a knife.
I didn't think it was a knife, yeah.
Oh, well, she could have stabbed him anyways. In the eye. With the soap, too. Blinded.
Yeah, like salt in the wound, soap in the gash.
Soap in the eye.
Soap in the stab.
Barely audible. Kale shot her a puzzled look before they turned to find Dorian striding toward them, a blonde young man in tow.
Oh!
I'm interested. Who is this?
Oh boy! It's a page boy.
It's a page boy. She'd never seen the youth, who was finely dressed and looked about Dorian's age. So Dorian is also
Dorian's
a youth.
Youthful.
I thought Dorian was older.
I think he's like 22.
Yeah, he was definitely older than her.
For sure.
But Kale stiffened. The young man didn't seem like a threat, though she knew she's not very good at assessing.
This is what I meant when I said home wrecker. I wasn't talking about Dorian. I was talking to him. And it's clearly this little page boy has gotten in between Kale and Dorian at some point.
Yeah.
That's why Kale was like, I'm stiffening. He's gotten in between, but in a way they all liked.
This is the actual love triangle. All right, let's find out about who this blonde youth is.
The page boy.
He didn't seem like a threat, though she knew better than to underestimate anyone in a court like this. He wore only a dagger at his waist. He's allowed to have a dagger at his waist? And nothing else? I think it's getting clear about exactly what his position is here.
He wore only a dagger. God damn.
I won't finish the rest of the sentence so that we think it's only a dagger. No, actually, it does not clarify
Okay, finish the sentence.
He wore only a dagger, and his pale face seemed rather jovial, despite the winter morning chill. So he's naked except for the dagger.
And he's happy about it.
Yeah, he's having a great time.
This is my kind of guy.
She found Dorian watching her with a half smile. Is he trying to make her jealous? I don't think it's working.
I don't think you're making someone jealous, but it's not Selena. She's more like, you do you.
You do you, bro. Respect.
Respect. I too would.
She found Dorian watching her with a half smile, an amused gleam in his eye that made her want to slap him. The prince then glanced at Kale and chuckled. And here I was, thinking that all the ladies were out so early for Roland and me. Oh, this is Roland?
Roland?
I don't remember what I knew about Roland.
No, I was flipping through the book and I saw that Roland was in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so Nude Knife Boy sticks around.
I mean,
when all of them catch a vicious cold, I'll let their fathers know that you're to blame. Kale's cheeks colored ever so slightly, so he wasn't as ignorant of their morning audience as he'd led her to believe. Lord Roland. he said tightly to
Man, he's a
Dorian's
lord.
friend.
Man, lords be doing anything these days.
Literally. She's probably going to have to kill him next.
He knows too much.
The blonde young man bowed back to Kaol.
And what is the lord doing bowing to the captain of the guard?
Well, the captain of the guard bowed first.
Oh, okay.
Captain Westfall. His voice was pleasant enough, but something in it made her pause. It wasn't amusement, or arrogance, or anger, which were the only emotions, starting with A, that she could identify.
It was allure.
She couldn't put her finger on it.
You mean her finger against it?
Against it. Allow me to introduce my cousin, Dorian said to her, clapping Roland on the shoulder.
You know, everything we've said still stands. The royals and cousin canoodling is more of a walk in the park than it is a taboo. I'm just saying.
We're just saying.
I'm just saying.
Dorian said to her, clapping Roland on the shoulder. Lord Roland Havillard of Meh.
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 He's meh.
Meh. I'm definitely calling that place Meh.
How's it spelled?
M-E-A-H.
Meh.
Probably me or something, but it's Meh.
Meh.
He extended a hand to Selena. Roland, this is Lillian. Oh, so she is going by a code name here still.
She is still going by Lillian.
She works for my father. Everyone knows who Lillian is. That's the name she used in the competition. They still used her alias whenever she couldn't avoid running into members of the court, though most everyone knew to some degree that she was not in the palace for administrative nonsense or politics. Yeah, no duh. They saw you get, whooped by a really muscular man. And then probably get brain damage because you were trying to fight off invisible things.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
Ah!
Why are you running? Why are you running?
My pleasure, Roland said, bowing at the waist. Are you newly arrived to court? I don't think I've seen you in years past. I didn't see you last year, Book.
Have you grown since last year, miss? Oh, 12 inches. I can high-five a soft side without even having to leap.
Just the way he spoke told her enough about his history with woman.
She is so judgmental.
Well, so am I.
Shouldn't this be his history with men? Obviously.
Also, I'm surprised nobody else is blushing.
Oh my goodness. That three-way handshake, me, you, Selena, judgmental AF.
I arrived this autumn, she said a bit too quietly. Roland gave her a courtier's smile. And what sort of work do you do for my uncle? Dorian shifted on his feet, and Kaol went very still. They need to get better at their pretending. This is very obvious.
Yeah, this should already be an answer that they know.
But Selena returned Roland's smile and said, I bury the king's opponents where nobody will ever find them.
And my first step is not burying them at all.
Roland, to her surprise, actually chuckled. She didn't dare look at Kaol, whom she was certain would give her a tongue lashing for it later.
Dude, it just depends where he's lashing. That's all I can say.
I've heard about the king's champion. I didn't think it would be someone so lovely.
Oh, you think I'm lovely?
OMG, you think I'm lovely? Oh, now I'm flushing. What brings you to the castle, Roland? The captain demanded. I think he needs to be taken down a bar for that. Yeah. He's talking to a lord, nephew of the king. He's just friend of the king's son.
Well, he's a lord. He's the son of a lord, but he's not a lord himself.
Yeah.
And this is the nephew of the king, and he's the captain of the guard.
Yeah. He took a downgrade.
Yeah, he took a downgrade to get away from his papa daddy issues. Just saying.
When Kaol looked at her like that, she usually found herself running in the other direction. Well, okay. Thought you'd have a bit more backbone.
Choose your battles.
Choose your battles, you're right. Choose your battles. Roland smiled again. He smiled too much, M-dash, and too smoothly. His Majesty has offered me a position on his council. Chaol's eyes snapped to Dorian, who gave a shrug of confirmation. I arrived last night, and I'm starting today. Chaol smiled, if you could call it that. M-dash, if you could call it that. It was more of a flash of teeth. Yes, she'd most definitely be running if Chaol looked at her like that, running to her bedroom to get naked.
Hey! Come on, Chaol.
Dorian understood the look, too, and gave a deliberate chuckle. But before the prince could speak, Roland studied Selena further, a tad too intently. Straight up, he's going to be a rebel.
I think he is. I think he's fooling around with Finn. What's his name? Finn? Yeah, Finn.
Finn. Like Flynn, but no L.
Name. What's his false name? Archer Flynn. Archer Flynn. Archer Finn. Archer Fletcher. Elmo.
I'm sorry, but a name Archer Fletcher, when you fletch an arrow, and you're an archer. That's funny. That's a good pun. I would appreciate it more if I wasn't reading this book. Perhaps you and I can get to work with each other, Lillian. Your position intrigues me. She wouldn't mind working with him, M-dash, but not in the way Roland meant. Her way would include a dagger. Well, he clearly only has a dagger too. A shovel and an unmarked grave. So it's fine to fantasize about killing people, apparently. Cold-blooded murder is okay if you're fantasizing it and it's someone you dislike.
It's always okay if you're fantasizing it.
Okay. Just need to figure out where the lines are drawn. As if he could read her thoughts, Chaol put a guiding hand on her back. We're late for breakfast, so he's like still her handler? It's kind of what it's feeling. He debriefs her, still feels like he's her handler. We're late for breakfast, he said, bowing his head to Dorian and Roland. Congratulations on your appointment. He sounded like he'd swallowed rancid milk. As she let Chaol lead her inside the castle, she realized she was in desperate need of a bath. But it had nothing to do with her sweaty clothes and everything to do with the oily grin and roaming eyes of Roland Havillard. Come on. You told me your eyes weren't roving his nakedness?
He has nothing but a dagger.
Only a dagger strategically placed. Hey, they said it was from his waist. They didn't say, like where.
It just depends on which one needs to... It just depends.
Yeah. The belt moves. We'll say that. And that's the end of the section, and we're at about an hour, so we'll stop here. I think we had some good talk.
Oh my goodness.